all difficulties. But if from self-conceit you will not listen to me, you shall perish. The word tvam is used meaning you, referring to Arjun. Shri Krishna tells Arjun that if Arjun fixes his thoughts on him, then by his grace, Arjun will cross over all difficulties and Arjun will be happy. There will remain no problems for Arjun in his life. Shri Krishna tells Arjun to just once make these thoughts steady on Shri Krishna and to have full Shraddha, faith on Shri Krishna. Perhaps if his intellect may still be given arguments and ripos, then he should stop it from doing so and make his thoughts fixed on him with a capital H. By saying that Arjun should fix his thoughts on Shri Krishna is saying that Arjun's thoughts should work in the same way as Shri Krishna's thoughts. When we say, give me your mind, then it means that you should think like my thoughts work. When we say, give me your intellect, then it means that you should make the decisions I make, and that you should not make different decisions from your intellect. In this way, Shri Krishna tells Arjun to align his thoughts with Shri Krishna's thoughts. Shri Krishna then says that if Arjun does this, then it is a grace of Shri Krishna, because from then on Arjun will have no decisions, and all the decisions taken will be Shri Krishna's decisions. Now the complete responsibility of Arjun will be with Shri Krishna. Then with Shri Krishna's grace, Arjun will cross over all difficulties. If Arjun fixes his thoughts on Shri Krishna, then can Shri Krishna give Arjun any difficulties? Why would difficulties come into his life? Shri Krishna says that all of this is sorrows and go away, and there is only happiness in life. We have happiness in our lives, but our sorrows are born from this happiness. There are reasons for this. The first reason is that happiness does not last forever. This is the limits of all happiness that we have. First of all, our happiness is not during each and every moment. 30 years ago, there was a fashion of bell-bottom trousers. They kept 40 buttons. At that time, people thought that if we find trousers with 40 buttons, how great would it be? Now, after 30 years, if you bring these trousers with 40 buttons, what will people say? They'll tell you to go to the tailor and get it cut because they don't want it. Therefore, the same trousers that could give me happiness 30 years ago no longer give me happiness. The happiness and peace that a married couple got from each other at the time of the wedding, they did not get after 2 years. They even get less happiness after 20 years. And then after 40 years, they begin thinking now, who will live alone? What I mean to say is that the people, the objects, and the circumstances that give us happiness have limits, because they cannot give us happiness during each and every moment. Second, they cannot give us happiness in each and every place. There's another limit of them. They cannot give us happiness in each and every place. If you go to a place abroad and it's cold, then wearing a warm sweater, it gives you so much happiness, and you think, the sweater's so nice, I cannot take it off here. But if you come into a country with 30 degrees or 35 degrees weather, Celsius, and wear the same sweater, then it won't give you happiness. It now becomes a reason for unhappiness. Therefore, these things cannot give you happiness all the time or in every place. Third, when the person changes, then the types of happiness changes. You cannot get happiness from each and every person. We have such a demand from happiness that we should get happiness from each and every person. However, we get happiness from one person but not the other. For example, it may be the case that the wife does not make sweets as well as the mother, and there's a difficulty in this. The husband says that she does not even know how to make sweets. The mother was making them so nice. The person has changed and she makes them in her own way. When the person changes, then the definition of happiness changes. Everybody in his friend circle likes his wife's sweets, but this husband does not like them. Therefore, when the person changes, then the types of happiness changes. And fourth, people have demands that when they get happy, then they should know that they're getting happiness. If we do not know and get happiness, then there's no enjoyment in this. If someone is in sound sleep at midnight, and somebody sits next to them and praises them, saying, you look so beautiful, you're very nice, you're so much of a generous heart, then this person will feel good after hearing this, but he's asleep and therefore he cannot enjoy this. If we're awake and someone sits next to us and says that you look very beautiful, you look very nice, then they feel so good, and they say on the outside, don't say it, but in their minds they're thinking, keep talking, say something else. Do they not get happiness from this? The person has said exactly the same thing, but in the first example, the person was sleeping and could not enjoy it, whereas in the second example, the person was awake and could enjoy it. In the same way, when one gets happiness, then they should know that they're getting happiness. There is only enjoyment in happiness when one knows about happiness. Therefore, happiness at all times, in every place, from every person, and that we understand can be only found at the feet of the Supreme Soul and not anywhere else. That is why God says to fix your thoughts on Him. Therefore, one has to come to God and has to enter into God. When one does this, and they'll cross over all difficulties, they'll get no sorrows. And in the second half of this verse, that are the third and fourth lines, God has told Arjun what will happen if he does not do this. The word jet is used meaning if. Shri Krishna tells Arjun that if he takes his egotism and holds on to self-conceit and does not listen to Shri Krishna, then Arjun will perish. I think that God must have made his eyes a little red while saying this to Arjun, to tell Arjun that Arjun, now accept it, and if you do not, then you'll perish. The meaning of this is not that God is trying to force his view. God has been giving logical arguments about why he's saying this to Arjun. God has been saying it over and over again to Arjun. Shri Krishna in the Gita is a master of psychology. He is a master of psychology. If you look at just this verse, then you'll feel as if Shri Krishna is speaking to Arjun, as if a parent speaks to a young child, that if you do not do this, then I will not take you. It is God's thing in the same way that Arjun, if you hold on to self-conceit and do not listen to what I'm saying, then he will perish. Is God giving him a punishment? No, God is explaining a principle. In the next verse, God makes this principle clearer. Verse 59. Yad aham